say Onda. He decided it wasn't up to him to decide. He decided to let Twitter decide if it was Anda or Onda. If you go to his Twitter, the poll is still open. It closes later today. If you want it to be Anda versus Onda, it's your choice to figure out what his play name is going to be. The current poll is 58-42 in favor of Onda, so currently that is his player name.
I tend to favor Onda.
All right.
I'm happy with that so far, so I'll get my vote in. But maybe now everyone's going to troll me and vote for Anda, so I have to say that.
I mean, I was leaning Anda myself, but, you know, it's up to all of us.
Now I'm doubly sure that
now you're doubly
is
sure.
the correct one to vote for.
Fair enough, but we are in a Champions League. Of course, Kalista, Ezreal off the table. We're moving some of the WildTurtle's options as Zoe, Sejuani, Nunu also off the table now. One final ban for FlyQuest, and 100 Thieves get first dibs.
Yeah, a lot of focus on the bot lane there. It's somewhat atypical to see Ezreal bans this early. It usually gets through the draft. It has been relatively high priority, but not really seen as a must ban. Kog'Maw as well being taken away here. This to me looks like Tristana, an early pick on something like that would be incredibly powerful. It feels kind of weird to me if you're going to go double AD carry ban and then leave something like a Tristana up for FlyQuest to take on the second rotation, but that's the scenario we're sitting in. And as FlyQuest with 3 AD carry bans already there, I feel like that's a pretty easy grab.
Sure. It's interesting as well seeing Ryze still, for pretty much every single team, prioritized here above Azir as a viable option. Of course, Gangplank still up. There's a lot of these very, very strong teams. You don't often see a lot of these Kog'Maw, Ezreal, Nunu type bans, this late into 8.2 here. So the Gangplank going to be picked up. We'll see if they want to answer with a Azir before the second round comes through, or if they are going to grab an AD carry. As you mentioned, Tristana, I agree, very, very strong right now.
Yeah, and especially when it is contested, you still have your third pick in the first round to answer the mid lane if you'd like to go that route. I always think it's a bit silly if you're going to grab your mid laner here, simply because then you're missing out on taking priority over a contested pick.
I agree with that one. But at the same time, of course, on Thieves, despite the fact that these champions are all available, just goes, yep, I'm going to grab the Ryze here blindly. The Xayah can be picked up here, so I wonder if they're going to combo it with Rakan. I do like a Xayah-Rakan duo.
Or if 100 Thieves is going to take away the Rakan because of that, right?
Sure.
Are you willing, as Aphromoo, to say, I want to deny WildTurtle this combo enough that I will take it away, and then you're kind of left with the Rakan, but you don't have that duo yourselves either.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that if I'm 100 Thieves, because I think like Xayah Alistar is fine, but Rakan without Xayah I think is actually not very strong currently in League of Legends, but obviously up to him, and he's the strong player here. Is the Tristana coming through for Cody Sun. Twitch has apparently named the backwards Trist ult after him. I saw that post earlier today. So North America gets more and more of their players named after interesting moves.
We have the Insect, we got the Cody Sun now.
Yeah, we got the Cody Sun. Gnar going to come through.
Not as cool as the other.
No, that's also a factual statement. Gnar going to come through as an expected counter pick into the Gangplank top lane. Not going for Vladimir, though. They're going to go for a more tank option in the top side there for Ssumday. Tankier option, I should say.
You've got to say, though, you have a chance to turn it around into something positive.
That's true.
If Cody Sun can start doing some really cool stuff, then the Cody Sun can become something really good. Just like sneaky in lane, used to be the negative thing. Now it's like, oh, sneaky in lane.
Yeah, he beat double in lane today. It worked out for him there. So Xayah Rakan is going to be the duo for FlyQuest.
Okay.
Nice to see that combo back together. I do really enjoy those champions. They should be incredibly strong in the early laning phase. The Xayah W is nuts at level 1. And now it's time for that second ban phase as Braum goes off the table, and I expect FlyQuest to probably remove a lot of support options.
Also got to see this being brought out by TSM earlier today. To varied levels of success, I would say. I think
first blood?
Yeah. Yeah.
Donate it to them.
Throughout the rest of the game, though, it is hit or miss. I think it can be very strong. This is something that I've kind of talked with Kobe about a fair bit, and he's not really a fan of Rakan, and his thought process is basically that it's kind of just like a squishier Alistar type thing. He would prefer those types of champions, and I tend to agree that it is kind of much higher risk than a lot of the other tanky engage type supports. If you go in there and you do not properly execute your combo and you can't actually get back out, you can die incredibly fast. Absolutely. So sure, you can hit the ult knockup combo with the Grand Entrance, and that is fantastic, but if you immediately get Ryze W'd and die instantly, how much did you really gain for your team? So we're going to have to follow Stunt and see how well he can play this, because he has been a guy that was an early adopter of Rakan when it first came in to solo queue. He's been such a grinder and always at the top levels of the ladder in solo queue. So you're expecting to see high-level mechanics on the champion, and we'll have to find out if he can really make it pay off.
Absolutely. So it looks like Azir's going to go through the pick and ban, not drafted at all, which is a bit of a surprise to me, but Fly wants to play himself some Galio, it looks like. The seconds tick down. They have a jungler to grab at the very end of the draft. Galio will be their answer to Ryze after Taliyah and Casio get banned.
I actually really like this in combination with their con as well, right? I was just talking about, well, you're very squishy. You go in, that's pretty risky. Well, Galio can actually back you up with that ultimate, and comboing the grand entrance, you know, with the quickness, and then the Galio ultimate come flying in, gives you a lot more tankiness, forces the opponents to kind of retreat and scatter, and can give you extremely powerful engages. Plus a lot of roaming potential there from the mid lane, which I think works very well if you want to have Flame on this kind of more carry-style top laner, especially if he's in a disadvantageous matchup, which you would expect him to be early on against the Gnar. You know, maybe you can turn those things around and even look for 4-man plays, 5-man plays on the bot side, or 4.5 if you want to call it, with the GP ultimate coming down and jungler and mid laner roaming to the bot side.
Absolutely. So final picks come through for 100 Thieves. Taric support going to round out the roster alongside Skarner in the jungle. It's going to be answered by Anda coming back in. Sorry, Anda, as the pull goes, with Jax here in the jungle for him. He has played it once before, I do believe, and it looked pretty good. At least he played it in Academy.
And what if the poll starts changing? What if it goes like 50-50 and it's changing back and forth during the broadcast?
I'm not going to check Twitter during the broadcast. I'm going to say
what if production checks it for you?
Sure, you know what? Fine. Yeah, it's going to be first time. Anda's going to. This is the first time Anda's played it on the LCS. Of course, as I said, he has played it on Academy on that squad when he swapped with Shrimp in the second and third week. So.
And Jax is a very strong tank jungler. We're seeing it a tremendous amount in the LCK in particular. If you have not seen it before, you may be thinking, oh yeah, I've seen this in solo queue people with Triforce and Blood Razor. No, that's not really what you're getting in competitive. People are going pretty much entirely full tank, and they're just relying on some of the innate damage that's built into his kit to kind of provide that extra DPS as far as his ultimate passive and things like that. Can be fairly strong also as a form of engage with the Counter-Strike, Leap Strike in, followed up by the Galio, followed up by the Rakan. So a lot of powerful engage here, and if they can pull it off properly and combo the GP ultimate on top of that, that is going to be very, very strong.
It is indeed. So we are at the end of Champions Select. Lineups on your screen.
There's one too many Gnars.
There is one too many Gnars. That said, he's got 2 forms, so I understand it. But of course, yes, that is Gangplank for Flame in the top. I think you see the text right there. This is going to be a fun one to watch for, honestly. I am curious to see how good the FlyQuest engage can be, because the 2 big carry threats in the Gangplank and the Xayah are more kite back type champions. It's nice to set up barrels, have your opponents walk into it. It's going to be very hard for 100 Thieves to walk into those kinds of champions. Good luck dealing with other feathers and everything else, but going forward, sometimes you don't have the cooldowns available to quite have those same chases, so I do want to see what it looks like at the end of the day. If you play Taric really well, you can counteract those engages by pressing R, and if you don't die quickly enough, you're now invincible, and you can turn it back around.
Yeah, I do think that the team fight can be very, very powerful for 100 Thieves, as long as they are not just getting blown up by the initial engage, as you're kind of alluding to there. If the Taric ultimate comes down, you have such high consistent DPS out of your Tristana, and despite the fact that Galio is innately quite tanky, I'm expecting this to be an AP Galio, as has been the trend in competitive play. And if you are an AP Galio and you get Skarner ulted, as much as Galio seems like a funny target, he's not able to channel his taunt during that. You can be burst down incredibly fast. If you are going, especially for the more aggressive builds, we've even seen people go like Roa, Deathcap, these sorts of things. You are not tanky. You can get shredded down, so that is an additional target that is quite reasonable. Also, if Stunt is not going to build a QSS and wants to fly in there, if you look for an engage and get immediately ulted, you will die.
Absolutely the case here. The only really bad option is probably Gangplank, who eats oranges and then laughs at you for using an ultimate. That has been the only bad option, though, for the squad, as we get the keystones up on the screen.
Xayah could definitely be a tough one, too, you know, especially if you're looking for a flash ultimate and you flash for the ultimate and then they pop their ultimate. You can end up looking pretty silly and giving away your life very, very easily. But I've got to say, this is probably Captain Flower's favorite LCS day ever.
Yeah.
We've had 3
Skarners in 4 games. And he's not even working the day.
Yeah, he's got to be sad about that. What if we just never see him again?
Yep. It just gets banned every other day.
Every team just agrees.
Yeah. Gentleman's agreement. All right, Flowers back on air. Let's just cancel this one. Saturdays only, you know, something weird. Who knows? All right, so 4-2, of course, for 100 Thieves. As you mentioned, that they've done well to beat teams below them, but you know, haven't cemented themselves, I think, really as a top-tier team favorite to win the league. Of course, they can always get there. It's some very strong players in the roster. FlyQuest started out pretty reasonable, and then with Shrimp playing, it just didn't look quite the same for them. I was a little bit surprised to see that roster shake up, but and now we'll see what it looks like as they're 2-4. They've got their work cut out for them. They don't currently potentially look like a playoff team.
They certainly do have their work cut out for them, but at the same time, we have to think how close a lot of teams are in the standings. CLG and TSM are both 3 and 4. Clutch is 3 and 4. If they win this game, you are very well in the playoff mix, right? And despite the fact that we may not think that they have looked like the most impressive team so far, hey, now you have your intended starting lineup. If you are in the mix with those teams, you can improve throughout the split. You can boost yourself up and very easily make the playoffs.
Onda finds out that down goes the Gromp, and that's going to be Meteos grabbing that no problem. 5 camps for Meteos, only 4 so far for Onda. He's got a little bit more to farm for himself, so he goes up towards the Krug's top side.
And did take a little bit of time to get the scuttle, so that is going to provide a bit of vision control. You can see Flame is actually playing fairly aggressively up in the top side and pushing, so the fact that Onda did take the time to secure that scuttle crab is going to make him feel much more secure. He drops the scuttle, he puts a deep ward. That makes Gangplank feel pretty good about his situation, and if you don't have that, oftentimes you have to back up. You have to sacrifice CS. You have to C to freeze to your opponent, and those sorts of situations can be quite costly. So there's definitely value to that, despite the fact that he's behind on farm.
Totally can be. Right now, 300 gold lead to FlyQuest. Overall as a squad, Gangplank with the early push, and with all the money being earned, feels pretty good for Flame so far in this one. Mid lane, bot lane, close to equal otherwise, and as we had mentioned earlier, the junglers are trading pretty close to the same. Onda clearing away his Raptors right now. No major issues, but Fly does best to last at the wave and does so pretty nicely. 26-26, lane's at equilibrium.
And Fly definitely wants to have a strong debut. If you can have all of these kind of worries erased by the fact that he was gone for a long time, right? And they were playing with Keen. And now you are back, and Keen has performed well. So you want your team to have a lot of confidence in you. You want to be able to perform well from the word go, because otherwise it's hard to know, are they going to stick with Fly? Would they go back to Keen? He had been pretty strong, and that's always going to be a concern for players. So a good first game for Fly would mean a lot, not only for his confidence, but for the team's too.
Absolutely agree. We'll see if they look good with this one then, as with the starting roster, this is their first showing, and it's a nice, tough test for them. Again, it's a team that's probably in a tight race with them for playoff positioning and whatnot, and we'll see how it goes here. Again, we just have this pretty standard early game. Nicely buffered rocket jump. We'll get away from this one. Cody Sun not going to take any real damage here.
It's still a pretty good little trade.
Yep.
Stunt just jumps back out. The rocket jump now is on cooldown. It makes you worry a little bit more about any potential ganks coming in. We know Jax is not on the way, but 100 Thieves does not. And at least Stunt is going to be able to proc some of his spell Thieves, get a little bit of gold. Materializer used, clears out the minion wave, and looks like Ryu's going to look for maybe his next recall away. He's already got himself the tier, and Fly is, of course, already teleported back. Change in the early ignite. He brought it for lane in case there was an all-in or a gank. There wasn't one, but now able to TP safely, and looks like Onda and Fly walking in towards Meteos. Now looking at Ryu, who wants to look for a root, finds that here. Out they go, though. Yeah, they definitely have to be careful. Ssumday was threatening the roam down as well, did leave lane, and nice stun, lands on WildTurtle.
Big Stun means a lot of damage. Turtle going to be down about 300 HP on that one, and a pretty solid 2-on-2. Aphromoo definitely took some licks himself, but he's got potions still to use if he needs them.
Yeah, he will be able to pull it back up, and Taric has quite a bit of healing on his kit here too. On the down a level, trying to maintain vision control in this area. Flame had to go back to base, was out of mana. But now back with the Sheen, he's going to be feeling pretty happy about that early first buy. Does increase his actual harass and trading patterns quite substantially.
Pretty good on that one. As yeah, the Glaives just keep going back and forth and back and forth. And not a lot to be said other than the health bars going up and down over time. Cody Sun with the door and shield keeps himself healthy, and Spires get captured. Meteos gives away his position if they're watching the minimap, earns 15 gold. Onda's not in problem.
And they already knew where he was because he went in to clear out the pink ward, so he's not going to worry too much about that. But Stunt going in.
Back out they go. Transfers a heal and a shield. It's going to keep him pretty healthy against that charge. And WildTurtle barely takes any damage. Fighting for the Raptors now is...
Onda has no smite, so this is probably just going to be Meteos's. And he's actually getting pretty significantly ahead as far as the experience. He's almost level 6, and Onda just barely hit level 5. So Meteos definitely with some nice pathing. And also probably just kind of dueling advantage there in that 1v1 for now, especially also kind of adding to that is the fact that his soul lanes have been pushing. His soul lanes have kind of had more pressure, which means that they should be able to respond faster, and that's going to make Onda much more hesitant to actually take any of those little fights.
Definitely has to respect those battles. So the first recalls come in for the bottom lane. It was WildTurtle and Stunt who did it first. It's going to be Cody Sun and Aphromoo actually are going to inherit a cannon wave to shove in. We'll see if a Dematerializer pushes that one in, but it will be a slower push for the itemless champions here. As it's DF Sword boots, and yeah, not enough damage coming in for you in time.
I think that was actually the Galio passive, the magic shield. So your base does not actually get interrupted if you do have a shield there. And that's one of those interesting interactions, because sometimes it is literally just a same time thing where the base completes. But in that case, I do believe it's the Galio magic shield actually absorbed the W, which allows that base to go through.
I think he had hit E and not, because a W, a root should immediately stop you because you're hard
crowd. So it may have just been the E.
I think it was just the E and the yeah, that's
yeah.
what I thought it was. Either way, yep, gets away to the base, gets himself closer and closer to Abyssal Mask, because the Catalyst, which is probably also Abyssal, comes further for Rio. Blue handoff, no problem. And level 7 for both mid laners, of course. Spellbook means continue to TP. This time around, though, Fly will walk back to lane. He's going to leave that global summoner available, even though he has his ultimate to do that kind of work. Doesn't need to rush back to the lane. Blue handoff complete on this side as well. EQ is going to kill it. And 260 means that goes over.
And we'll see if and when FlyQuest is going to have the confidence to actually start being a little bit more proactive with these plays. You're starting to hit these level 6 marks. You know, Stunt is almost level 6 himself. Once he hits that area, you definitely could see Fly trying to roam down to the bot side, use the GP ultimate, use the Xayah Rakan engage in combination with that, and try to get something from it. Because I do think that they are playing a comp that wants to be somewhat proactive. Yes, they still have fairly good scaling. You know, the Galio is going to be pretty strong in team fighting, and GP is obviously going to be very good in late game. But I do think that anytime you're allowing Taric, Tristana, Ryze, etc. to just kind of free farm and scale, it's probably going to go bad for you in team fights.
May very well here as Fly and Ryu trading blows back and forth. Jack's coming nearby as well, but not in range for any CC, as Skarner's also nearby. That would have been a kidnap under the turret. That would not have been worth it to flash from there on this side. Flame still farming very well against Gnar. Doing better than matchup expectation. Jukes away a little bit, eats some oranges, gets away from the stun, but this time around some really meaningful damage dealt by Ssumday. The first great trade I've seen out of that 100 Thieves top lane.
And it is something where maybe we're going to have to start adjusting expectations for this 1v1, because ever since we've seen the Relic Shield start in this GP matchup, and he's going Biscuit Delivery here as well, so Biscuit Delivery plus the 3-pot Relic Shield start and an early Corrupting Potion gives you so much sustain that maybe with this new build you actually can just survive the matchup and be able to trade more evenly than has been the case in the past. But Meteos up to the top side, Flame knows he's there and will be pushed off the wave.
Ult used to clear the minion waves out. He was going to land the slow. Can he find the stun? No, he's not going to find the auto attack. Ult could have meant oranges into auto attack for the stun, but that probably would have been a kill, so not going to burn that there. Still Flame sitting in this brush, and he's not going for the recall yet, though. I guess he wants to walk back in a lane.
Yeah, he's hoping he can see Meteos leave. They did get the Dragon on the bot side, and for now, the trade certainly goes in the advantage of FlyQuest, but if they can actually keep him off the next waves, he's going to have no access to this whatsoever, and they're looking for him now. Yeah,
round 2 against Flame should have oranges. Still puts the Q in for a bag of gold to consume. 60 gold for the trouble.
And Onda's up here now. So honestly, not too bad. They do get some turret damage down. Yeah. He has zoned off some minions, but really quite well handled by Flame. He expends the ultimate. He stays very comfortably over there, and his team secures Dragon on the bot side during that time. So things looking pretty good for FlyQuest.
Yeah, I would generally happily trade 2 minion waves and some turret health for a Drake, even though not a lot of teams love Cloud. I think it's still a bit helpful as they can roam around the map.
Especially when you can actually get most of the first mini wave just with your ultimate, right?
Yeah,
you didn't have to really give up too much, and because the second wave was a cannon minion, he actually only lost basically one range minion one melee minion and a cannon. Really was not too bad at all.
Yeah, so only down 10 CS in the wave or in the matchup, I should say, and that's from what I've seen par for the course. But you're right, as builds innovate, sometimes that can be flattened a little bit. Obviously, every team is pretty much always willing to blind the Gangplank, even with things like Gnar up, and clearly Flame feels comfortable. Once again, a wave under the turret. If he has a barrel, it should be pretty easy to clear that. And actually not quite chaining him, because that wasn't quite in range. The barrel goes down, but he can last a little bit under turret. Earns 15 more gold, but gonna lose a couple more dozen health on that. Looks like Ssumday mostly trying to shove more than put turret damage in.
Yeah, and he did see Meteos coming up to around the top side, so becoming pretty hesitant, but now may actually kind of get corralled in here. Fly is roaming up to the top side, so if Meteos started the dive, it would probably go pretty tragic, but he has not been spotted yet. And
Onda's far.
Okay.
Onda was bot, jungle, more damage coming across, and now that Flame trades some vision with Meteos, he goes, never mind, back to my lane, Ryze pushed me in.
Unfortunately for Fly there, if he had actually just waited probably a couple seconds longer, it looked like 100 Thieves wanted to commit to that dive.
Yeah.
And as a FlyQuest member, you want them to. When you have the Galio ultimate to turn that around, that very likely would have gone really poorly. That is a dangerous TP.
Yeah,
I think you almost
I think
cancel
you can
here.
kill him. Gnar use, the stun's going to land. When's he going to eat the orange? Because the ult coming right afterwards. Just chain CC, looking for a play, but almost suicide on a flame, and there's the ultimate after the flash. That's going to be Flame going down for first blood. Credit goes over to Ssumday.
Oh, that was just awful for Flame. I mean, you can't TP back to that minion. It would have been greedy, in my opinion, even to TP to the turret, because the turret likely would be going down, but that was so brazen. And now that he dies there, gives up first blood, it's also going to be first turret, and he just kind of shot Ssumday so far ahead in this 1v1.
Does Onda feel safe about this one? The Gnar is low on HP, but of course Onda, 600 means no thank you very much. Meteos spends about 6 minutes straight top lane, but gets rewarded with a kill and first blood and first turret.
That is a big deal there. Just TPing straight back in. Meteos was not spotted until he started the TP, but then not canceling it into a Mega Gnar and a Skarner who you know full well has the ultimate. He does a good job as far as actually fighting back and making it relatively close, but the first blood going over and the fact that the first turret is going to go over is going to be big item completions there for Ssumday.
It seemed like he was... Okay, we got to fight the bot lane first real quick. A quick stun comes on to Cody Sun, but still better trade for the Tristana side of it. As WildTurtle losing about half his health and trades right back in. And the Xayah trade going not too bad. It looked like he was baiting to get the Galio in. He lived long enough that if the ult could be channeled, maybe that fight turns around. But Fly either couldn't quite get in range or he was cut off by the Ryze. He was trying to check in the minimap, but never got to channel that. And that was obviously a really big deal.
I mean, Galio was in mid lane fighting the Ryze, right? So he was...
At the start, he was walking through the river by the time he died. Like, he was at red buff when Gangplank died, which should be in range at that point. So I'm not sure exactly what went down, but that looked like that was the intent was, yeah, it's agreed to TP, but Galio's supposed to save. It just didn't happen.
Yeah, and that can just be a team communication thing. But either way, collapse on the mid lane here.
Yeah, a lot of 3v1s in this one. Fly tanky enough that we can walk away. Pops the E, jumps out. Onda shows up with the leap and gets out.
And when things like that go wrong, it can be tough because we don't know who made that call, right? Perhaps it is Fly saying, no, TP back, I'll be there in time, and he has mistimed it, or perhaps it is Flame's decision himself. But either way, it certainly was a botched play and a fairly costly one, no matter who called it.
Yeah, that I agree with. The results were clearly the results, and I am not sure quite what the impetus was for that situation, but that's the way the chips fell. Now it's 100 Thieves with their mid laner Ryu getting some alone time with the blue buff, going to clear that one away. Doesn't seem like Meteos was punished too badly by everything else going down. Now the attempt is not going to quite land out on WildTurtle. Going to ult for some time, and here comes the rest of the squad as well as Onda shows up. Quick Taric ulti. Going to buy a lot of time, but now comes Galio as well. Could be hard. Crowd going on to Aphromoo.
Ssumday's almost here, though.
Cody Sun a bit alone. Hourglass pop for some time. Ssumday showing up. Aphromoo is dead, but here comes the rest of the squad. Will it be good? And no, it's 2 kills for FlyQuest. 100 Thieves could not have stayed under the turret. They show up and lose their duo lane.
Nicely done there by FlyQuest. Finally getting something out of this global ultimate, semi-global ultimate from Fly. Roams down to the bot side, 4 men there. WildTurtle knocks down the turret, and they're able to get a couple kills to boot, so...
Cooldowns are a thing. Out they go. So Fly, the first one to have a meaningful map around the map.
And here's Onda, there is Stunt. They see them on the pink ward. A Turtle able to finish off the turret, though. Backing up, buying time very, very well. And unfortunately, for the 100 Thieves, not enough of their members to actually get there in time. So even though Ssumday arrives, the fight is essentially already lost. The Taric ultimate is expired. Taric is already dead, and Cody Sun is pretty much dead to rights.
Cody Sun actually flashed onto the Galio while channeling his E. Like, Fly was trying to get him out of the hourglass, but he was still on the windup, so he flashed on top of the Galio, got knocked right to the air, and the flash was useless. So
brutal.
Rough timing for Cody Sun. I know he tried to outplay it, but sadly hit that a little bit too early for him.
Yeah, and it's hard to know if it would have made much difference in that fight.
Probably not.
Maybe he would have been able to get away, and if he can make space, then maybe they can turn something around, but it seemed like a pretty well-executed dive there from FlyQuest.
Totally agree.
Getting something for that Rakan Xayah duo. On the top side, though, Meteos and Ryu trying to take something back, looking to knock down this Rift Herald and try to take that and apply some more pressure out on the map, maybe knock down another turret. But so far, we've had a very, very close game.
It's been interesting right here. So, only 100 gold separates the teams. FlyQuest, though, of course, up to those Drakes. Rift Herald, though, for 100 Thieves should help turn that around a bit.
Also worth pointing out that going against some of the expectations, this is looking much more like a full tank Galio. With the Glacial Shroud, the Merc Treads. Yes, he went Abyssal, but this was not Abyssal into AP. This is looking like Abyssal into basically full tank, and that is not common.
Big combo coming in. That's a giant knock. Looking for a bit more. They will jump away.
Cody Sun so
Cody
low.
Sun. The feather's not going to come back just in time. And the suppression. They've pulled it on him, but he's going to survive out of this one. Taric goes down. That is Aphromoo losing his life. Kurt's going to fall to Shelly as the push comes through for Meteos using the active. 1 kill for a turret. I guess you can consider that 100 Thieves favored, potentially.
Yeah, honestly. Nice ultimate from Meteos. Good peel to actually save Cody Sun as right as Onda goes forward. Meteos ults him off the AD carry, keeping Tristana alive, which would have meant much more damage could be done. But either way, it is that kill for the turret, and FlyQuest doesn't seem like they can really push to get more here.
A little miraculous only when champion died, because that was a 2-man, like, full quickness into jump combo. Galio showed up as well, and they only got 1.
Yeah, I mean, the Galio ultimate came in just a little bit too late to actually catch Tristana. You'll watch Cody Sun here, barely able to get out, right on the edge of the Galio ultimate. It's a great engage from Stunt. Cody Sun jumps out, and look at this. He just gets barely outside as the Galio comes crashing down, and then nice ultimate there onto Onda, peeling him off. They do get the 1 kill, but the losses were minimized quite well by 100 Thieves.
Yeah. And that was without ever the ult coming down from Aphromoo's Taric. So you think next time around that fight could go even better for 100 Thieves. Certainly, FlyQuest cannot sit on their laurels. 400 gold difference, not huge. Mete's going to find a slow, but easy enough for Stunt to get away. That is, as you mentioned in Champs, like how much squishy Rakan is. At least he has a free target move block to get away from stuff. So what you lose in tankiness, you do gain in slipperiness. So now another CC chip in the mid lane as Rhea looks for a play. Not going to find that yet, but a stun going to land almost on Turtle. Not going to actually get all the way in for it. As Ana wants to re-engage the flash forward, looking for the QE. Not going to get that for Turtle either. As they trade summoners back and forth, no kills.
Yeah, a couple of traded summoners there. Onda close to being able to get in, and Galio does have the ultimate available, has been stacking quite a lot of CDR, so we'll see if they can continue to push this forward. Flame has his ult, Galio ult is up. You want to see FlyQuest being a bit aggressive, trying to utilize their playmaking tools. See if they can do so.
Looking at the damage back and forth on this turret here is only half HP the wave clear. Not too bad for a Taric Trist. It's so hard, I should say, to tower dive a Taric. So back they go, just with a couple of minions going back and forth. Ocean Drake still means regen. FlyQuest can stay on the map even easier. The rapid fire cannon also makes it easier for Turtle to knock turrets down.
This is actually pretty interesting here, seeing that it was a Zeke's first item from Stunt.
Love it!
So going to be grabbing that up. Not only is he going to have kind of the AoE slow and coming out from himself on his ultimate in, but getting that damage burn to WildTurtle on his auto attacks is going to be pretty impactful, hopefully, for them in the team fights. Should be interesting to see what pays off.
Yeah, I think Zeke's is a super underrated item overall. I think it gets ignored by most teams. And I mean, I love the champion absolutely, or the item I should say absolutely. So yeah, Stunt obviously going to ult the start of every team fight. He's going to be around WildTurtle. It's going to be fun to watch it.
And the slow could be fairly impactful, like, especially when you're comboing it with Galio. And this may be kind of reading more into the item purchase than they are actually doing so. But when you look at how close it was to Cody Sun being stuck inside that Galio ultimate and some of these members just barely getting out, when you add in a 40% slow that comes out from the Zeke's proc in that area of AoE when he goes in, maybe that's enough to actually make Fly's Galio ultimate hit someone. And that can be game-changing. That can be fight-changing. And I think that is a pretty cool synergy to think about.
Absolutely agree. We'll see if it comes through into this one now. As Flame now on the back foot has to just sit away and hide from some of Ssumday's pushing here. Level 13 for both these guys. The actual individual gold, he actually still Gangplank favored, but it's what you get out of the matchup. Ssumday continuing to push for most of this. Trails through some of the minions, but Flame is still under his turret.
And Onda is building towards a Triforce, which a lot of Jaxes are going pure tank. You do still see Triforce somewhat in competitive, but certainly has been more common to just see people do these very, very tanky, more supportive style builds. With him building into a Triforce, he has the ability to theoretically transition into more of a split pushy style. You can do things like having a 1-3-1 type strategy in the later stages of the game if they want to dedicate enough farm over to the Jax. Not sure if we're going to see that, but it definitely opens up some pretty cool options. Especially with the Galio going full tank here, and Fly taking a back seat to his teammates there, and down they go again. So interesting to see, you know, Fly makes his debut, and he's like, yeah, I'll go full tank so Jax can carry, and nice to see all the players being team players and doing the more team-oriented builds. Certainly, and if he is going to be full tank, then maybe you need a little bit more damage coming out from your jungle, because Stunt on the Rakan is not really going to be putting out much damage himself, so you can't really have a one-threat team. Exactly. Yeah. Like Galio is not going to put out much damage as a full tank build, and yes, Flame on the GP can put out quite a lot, but it's not really what I call consistent DPS. You know, it's something that is hit or miss. If you're getting all your barrels poked out, you're not going to offer much of a heat.
And you might be stuck in split push duty.
Yeah.
Right? He might be alone, and your 4-man team fight has 1 damage dealer in WildTurtle. That's usually not enough to win a 4v4. So yeah, I do think it makes sense to have someone else that's not Flame deal damage. And they chose Onda for this one, which I think is interesting. Of course, quite a long way to go until that Trinity Force is completed. For now, he's mostly just a tank. But we'll see as the items come through later on. Ocean Drake respawned. See if FlyQuest can make it 3 turrets in a row as they've grabbed that Spire. They've denied it from Meteos. As the mid lane going to be controlled first by 100 Thieves. We'll see who can grab the waves. They're going to go for the engage right here.
Galio coming in.
Looking for a bit more damage. They will knock down Aphro in time. Ulti going to keep the backline alive for a few more seconds, but here's going to be a big root collar and 2 more coming across. The Feather just killing everybody.
They're going straight to Baron. What a beautiful engage there by Stunt, and they're executing this composition so well. Barely able to kill Aphromoo before that ultimate landed, and I actually think Aphro used it very quickly. I think he did quite a good job, but it's going to go down. It's going to be the Baron for FlyQuest, and we'll see how many advantages they can take with it.
Yeah, no jungler and no Ezreal. This Baron's going to go over, quickly picked up. Honda gets it. It'll be a trade of turrets. At least something goes for 100 Thieves. Good to get what you can. Bot lane, outer, and mid lane tier 2 is actually quite impressive. But still, the right call out of FlyQuest, 2 for 0, plus the Baron. Now it's time for the Siege.
And here is the engage one more time. Stunt again finding his opportunity and making it count. They start up the dragon, pulling them over, and as they clump up, in goes Stunt, flash engage, full combo. The damage pumped into the Taric. It's not the target you would really want, but actually full focus fire and everyone listening to the call meant they could barely kill him off before the Taric ultimate landed. That was so key in the team fight.
I gotta say, quick things out of Ryu as well. Got Charm, cleansed away and walked out of it in time. He wasn't caught out. I think he burned Flash too, but the casualty, of course, on Aphromoo and Meteos, meaningful here. As now it's time for the split push. Fly in the top lane, ultiless for now, but only a few seconds. Teleport is up as well. It's gonna be a quick pickup for him, adding more MR to the mix as well. He is continuing that full tank trend.
And with that Iceborne, he is going to be able to knock down turrets fairly well. The Sheen proc does help you out quite a lot with that in combination with the Galio passive. That actually can be used on turrets there too. Plus, the Baron Gold in the team fight does put Onda that much more close to his Triforce, which is going to be quite a nice spike for him.
Wait, Meteos stole it. Meteos like, I'm going to help you, dog. Sorry, I misspoke. I meant Taric. Yeah, Aphro has it. He's like, I'm going to help you with this stun real quick, and now he's even more fabulous.
I mean, he's going to mess him up with the passive now.
Yeah. That's how you want to play this one, absolutely. A little weird, but, you know, that's the way it is. Mid lane going to take 2 for now.
But either way, FlyQuest is getting all the mini waves going. Bot lane is pushing. You see that Fly is shoving out on top side. They're trying to push it up, trying to take any safe gold that is out on the map, and then get those mini waves going before they can look for any sort of engage. So we'll also see if they actually want to wait for Turtle to finish his IE, because he's getting relatively close to that, has 2 of the major components and 1,100 gold in his pocket. So it would be a big power spike if he can complete that before any major fights.
And he has enough, I think, to complete any Zeal. He's got 1,100, or sorry, wrong player. So time to go for this one, but back and forth as they kill away some of these minions. Should be 1,500, I think, roughly for Infinity Edge completion. Yeah, so a couple hundred to go.
Like that.
I think it's 1,425 if it's if you're waiting for crit, and it's 1,500 if you're waiting for the pickaxe. So that's the way it is for this one. 1,100 was what he needed for Shiv from where he was, or everything else. There is IE, so triple power spike in for WildTurtle. Not far to go for Cody Sun, only about 200 gold until he's on 3 items as well.
And I think this is where you look to fight. A bunch of items just got completed. Triforce for the Jax, the Stone Plate for the Galio, the IE now, and the Ardent Sensor for Stunt. Like, that is such a big power spike for so many members of the team that you want to fight before your opponent complete those items, right? If they are just on the components, Cody Sun is much weaker. You want to try to look to force the issue, and we'll see if FlyQuest is able to do that before 100 Thieves has a chance to buy to complete their own item timings.
25 gold till Tristana gets her next completed item, which should be Rapid Fire Cannon in most cases. It's a small race against that. Money income plus getting back to base, so WildTurtle is going to get some alone time. Okay, not alone time, but it's a 2v1 against Ryu up here with the Baron buff on the minions. Makes it hard to kill, and he gets a few auto attacks in. You can see, looking for the play. Not quite going to find Ryu, but the charm might still land. No, gets rooted in place and can't go for it just yet. And here comes the re-engage, almost out of Taric. Turret down to 1/4, but the defense here in time for 100 Thieves.
Yeah, nicely done there by Ryu. He does expend his cleanse. Did he actually even get hit? I'm not sure.
No, he cleansed and rooted. He never got hit. I guess he was cleansing in case he was getting hit.
Yeah, I think it was one of those same time type things where he's kind of panicking, thinking he is going to get hit, but it looked like it missed regardless. So honestly, as funny as it is, it kind of comes out pretty good for Stunt because he at least forced a summoner. He did not expend one of his own. Ssumday will just TP out, but that's a teleport down and more global pressure moving to the side of FlyQuest. And Ryu, his cleanse on cooldown, so he cannot swap the TP just yet and not use that. Ssumday has no TP, so it's 2 teleports to 0 on the map as of now for FlyQuest.
The only mobility ability here for Thieves would be Ryu's ultimate, but it's not nearly as good as Ryze's. Sorry, Galio's. There we go, brain, for getting around the map. So completely agree with you. Mobility advantage. I mean, I called Meteos Aphromoo and vice versa. I'm not doing well today. My apologies, internet. 5,000.
You're doing your best.
I am doing my best, which is a low bar to set. FlyQuest winning this game, though, and as far as bar setting, though, being 2-4, beating up on a 4-2 team, looks like this intended roster working well so far for FlyQuest.
It certainly is. There's always still the worry about how do the fights go as the game goes longer and longer. How much does this full tank Galio really add besides just the CC in the really late game team fights? As we see Cody Sun, I think, get his last West Searcher, I'm expecting him to go for it next. Will the Galio really be able to stand up to that damage? How is he going to perform? Because if they can get a well-executed team fight, if the Taric ultimate does come down and they can absorb the engage, which they have not really been able to do in most of these fights, the team fights certainly can turn around quickly for 100 Thieves.
Nope. Stunned White on the fly here as he walks away from this one. That tank Galio holding the mid lane for now. Stone Plate done, means he's even bigger of a frontliner. Ryu halfway to Void Staffs. Actually should have enough money for it. He's going Death Cap third item, but I think he should probably go Void based on what this Jax is building and what this Galio is in front of him.
And even just based on the fact that there's also a QSS on WildTurtle, so it's going to help with that there too. But Turtle definitely going to be looking to play even more aggressive now that he has the QSS and can remove one of those big CCs. I think QSS is just so ridiculously strong against this team in general because really
Skarner.
Almost everyone, I mean Skarner, but also Ryze W, Taric stun, Gnar stun. Like, there's so many good things to actually QSS that I think it'll be rare in a close team fight that you're not going to have a good use for the item.
Different build out of Flame though for this one. He's actually going for crit, not armor pen. Gangplank, who's skipping the Youngs this time around. He'll probably have Essence Reaver into Azael and an Infinity Edge in that build.
Yeah,
spots to replace.
Definitely looking for him to go towards that Azael now to be able to get the most out of the Essence Reaver. I never feel like that's
actually mathematically he doesn't need any more than 20% crit chance to have max CDR because of Triforce. So it actually might be IE next item, but he's going Zeal. Either way, this is still max CDR.
Yeah, and probably the IE last is what you would expect unless he wants to go for something like a Lord Dominates for a 1v1 or those style of builds that you do see from time to time. But people have had their different interpretations on GP builds. A lot of people in the ideal 6-item build will end up with something around the same, which is generally SG for IE, a couple of ship items, 100% crit, this sort of thing.
Yeah, totally. Let's see what comes out of this one as Baron is live yet again, and FlyQuest looking to control mid lane first. 100 Thieves waiting in the brush. Cody Sun with Repertoire Cannon can easily poke.
Remember, no TP, so FlyQuest just needs to sit back. They need to delay their opponents from going to the Baron. They have a ward in the pit right now, so there's no reason for them to look to contest anything. Just allow Flame to push up, and now that Ssumday has base, then you can look to actually force a play. Because theoretically, Flame can TP up, you can start Baron, you have a 5v4, and they should start it right away. This is actually beautifully done by FlyQuest. This is the macro you want to see.
This is the window, and Ssumday starting to walk up towards the top side, but it's going to be a while till he gets there, looking for the engage. Galio comes down as well, looking for the squad. No stun just yet. Ulti burn, and out goes 100 Thieves. A couple of ults traded back and forth. 3 from FlyQuest, though, are already down. Make it 4 as Jack did it too, so the only thing they've got left is WildTurtle here, and this one's stuck inside the pit looking for the re-engage. 100 Thieves, can they get into this one?
Flash.
How difficult is it going to be? No stuns just yet. Back and forth, they find Ryu, a big chunk of damage, and Turtle is unstoppable. Getting that kill, Start runs away, but stays alive. A 1-for-0, look for the re-engage. No root on a Ryu, or sorry, on a Meteos.
Gnar.
All right, can he find the opening? Again, it's a bit of a 4v4. Finds the stun, Turtle QSS out, walks away. He's going to stay alive. Now Ssumday forced a flash into this one. Barrels are up, finds it slow. Ssumday is going to fall on Saturday. That's going to be a kill picked up, 7-1 on the scoreboard. 2-for-0 in this fight. Back to Baron they go.
Really nice from Stunt, too. He actually goes back to base at almost no HP, swaps to the TP. TP's immediately back into the fight. and the support has already arrived. They can just look to start this up once more. Their support is here with the quickness available. The Flash try to keep Meteos out.
You've got to get rid of this one. He's going to get pulled in by Meteos. And again, they've got to worry about the fact that he's far enough away that they can probably burn it down. Cody Sun kills Stunt, but there will not be a smite coming through. Meteos won't get in there in time. So one kill picked up, but again, I will always take Baron for a single kill. FlyQuest come out ahead. Especially
when it's your support. So Stunt kind of giving his life for the cause there.
Yeah.
The Baron going to go FlyQuest's way. And again, they're going to be out on the map, looking to pressure, looking to get more from this. We'll see this engage one more time. Stunt waiting on that pink ward, looks for it straight onto Ryu, who does flash back, and the GP ultimate somewhat wasted there, but they get the Taric ultimate out, they can look for the re-engage, and as Ryu steps forward, keep your eyes on Fly and his channel taunt. He sees Ryu moving up, he knows there's no Taric ultimate, he looks for the channel taunt, he flashes straight onto him, and with the barrel chain, everyone piling in, just very nicely done and capitalized on, and Stunt barely gets out with no HP. He TPs back in. Just a really nice team fight, well executed, I have to say, from FlyQuest, and a lot of credit to how well they are playing the macro game. Getting the TP advantage, moving bot side, creating pressure, then going to the Baron, starting that up, forcing cooldowns out, re-engaging. Honestly, everything has just been done very well.
Totally agree with this one. FlyQuest look quite nice in this game, and it makes the conversation for who makes playoffs even more interesting because
it's tough.
You've got 9 teams who look playoff caliber right now. After watching the Optic game yesterday, watching FlyQuest here, who's actually going to make top 6 is super compelling. FlyQuest continue to look good. You've still got to play the game out, but an 8K gold lead looks good for it. WildTurtle pushes bottom turret right now, looking to get a lot done with this. 3 more autos will kill it off, and minions help as that one falls down.
And you see Fly pushing in the side. He has swapped over to an exhaust away from the TP, trying to utilize that for kind of more power in the actual team fight. He still has his ultimate to join up with the team if that is needed, and we'll see how well he can actually make that exhaust work. I do think that it can be quite powerful against the Ryze, who, generally speaking, has to be relatively short to medium range and is a pretty easy target to exhaust. And if Ryu ever were to go aggressive in the fight with 2 exhausts available, that can be pretty detrimental to him. Not to mention the fact that if Cody Sun wants to jump forward and you have 2 exhausts available plus all the CC for him, that can quickly get turned on its head. So it's something that 100 Thieves will have to be very, very aware of.
All right, well, here comes the attempted play. 3 of them caught out. 1 jumps away. Cody's going to be alive, but the knockup is there. Ssumday is gone already. 5v4. Can this be the winning play for FlyQuest? They get their second now. It's going to be Stunt holding the front line, running away. A double kill in for the AD carry WildTurtle. They found another taunt. They found their 4th kill, and that's the ace. That's the game. 12-2 in kills. FlyQuest with a slaughter of a game over 100 Thieves.
Just incredible stuff. The debut for Fly here, looking brilliant. 0, 0, and 12. 100% kill participation for him and WildTurtle as FlyQuest decimate 100 Thieves in what is a week of upsets so far.
A week of upsets is right. A 35-minute win. FlyQuest improve and grab their 3rd victory.
Just honestly, such an exciting game.
Yeah.
And such an exciting day of games with all these favorites going down left and right today. As you said, I mean, it really does feel like, well, there's 9 teams that you can talk about for top 6, and that is just insane.
I don't think we've had a split like this before. This is going to be an interesting one to keep watching throughout the rest of this one, the next few weeks coming through. FlyQuest undefeated with their intended starting roster. They took down the number 4 team in the standings in this roster's debut. Maybe a lot of upside for this squad as hugs and happiness comes through for these players. And that is nice to see. 3 weeks of going back and forth. And you know in the back of your mind, like, okay, 2 and 4, that's fine, we can recover. But the question is, what if the starting team doesn't work out very well? And you've got to keep playing the roster shuffle. This time around, though, this is a sign of very positive things. Fly looked good. Turtle looked as good as he's been all year. This could be the year of the turtle, despite being the year of the dog.
And I love, I'm just not even going to dog jump.
Okay.
I love how well coordinated they look.
Yeah.
One of the things that you're always going to worry about, A, with a Korean import player, and B, with a team that has just been kind of coming together here. They've been playing with Keen for quite some time. Yes, they boot camped with Fly, but I did not expect communication and coordination to look as good as it did in that game. I thought not only was their macro game immaculate, their engages were so good and so well timed and coordinated between Stunt and between Fly and, you know, Flame dropping his GP ultimate at the right times. It just looked like such a well-practiced team that I was not expecting to see such a high level of play in the first game that they have played together in the LCS.
At the very start of the day, we said we want to look at 5 players throughout this day, and Fly was one of them. Is this going to look like, you know, what they expect, where they picked him up? And yeah, Keen's the sub, and Keen looked good, but Fly is the one we want. Fly looks like the one you want.
Yeah, I mean, definitely so. He had a great game, and also kind of showing his own style. It sounds funny to be like, oh, wow, so unique, tank Galio,
tank Galio.
But it is kind of in this day and age, right? People are not really going for the tank build anymore.
The less common build.
And when Onda is going for the Triforce, and you have a GP in the top lane, and Turtle is very fed, it made sense, right? And it looked very, very good.
So huge props to FlyQuest for a great win. Now throw it down to pastry time and FlyQuest jungler, Onda.
Thank you very much. I'm here with Onda after a successful win here with a reinvigorated roster. Onda, I just have to ask you, it's been kind of a up and down first few weeks for the team. What was kind of this week like as far as changes and Fly coming in?
This week, Fly just came back on the Sunday this week, so everyone was like really motivated to get or to recover from the 0-2 loss from last week. I was pretty sad because I didn't get to play those games too, so I really wanted to like make sure my team wins this week.
And as far as not getting to play, you did have some time in Academy, but like personally, do you feel like you can be doing better, or is it just kind of sucks to not be playing with the team that you've been playing with all this time?
Since I didn't get to play, I got to experience how like Shrimp plays with the team and what he does well with the team. I can incorporate that into my play, which I kind of did, and I guess it showed this week.
As far as those key differences, is there anything specific you could tell me that is different that you saw from Shrimp that you thought, oh, that's actually something I should put in my play as well?
Just like being more confident, making like really assertive calls, being a lot more selfish, I guess. Yeah.
And does that kind of transpire in the metagame? Because very different kind of junglers here. I mean, we've seen a decent amount of Jax around the world, but not so much in NA. And Skarner, of course, is something we've not really seen at all, except maybe in solo queue. What do you think of kind of the jungle metagame, and specifically kind of the 2 more unique picks this game in Jax and Skarner?
Skarner, or the jungle meta is pretty, I'd say it's pretty good, but it's not too strong. But there's a lot of champions that you can play, so it makes it kind of fun. Jax is kind of an early skirmisher, and then he can scale well as well because he built Triforce second. And Skarner's pretty strong early, and then when you get hit 6, you're really strong, but then you fall off later when people get QSS, and you're not as tanky as other tanks.
All right, final question for you. Of course, you have one more match to play the weekend, hoping for a 2-0 to kind of beat the 0-2 from last weekend. How's your confidence moving into tomorrow?
Pretty good since we won today, but C9 looked really good, so I just hope we all play well just like today. Yeah.
All right, well, thank you so much. Congratulations on the victory today. Thank you. We'll throw it back to the State Farm analyst desk.
Thank you very much. Pastry time. FlyQuest at full force with another upset victory here on the day, moving to 3-4. 100 Thieves handed the loss. And they do it with such an interesting composition. It was already kind of touched on a little bit, the Jax making its appearance as it had in the Academy League, along with the Galio built into tank fashion.
I think both of us, as we were seeing this draft kind of unfold, just loved every part of it. You have GP, which is a great late game. You have Galio to kind of protect it. You have a ton of engage with Rakan. Galio can follow up on that perfectly well. Jax has some nice early farming and can kind of go wherever he needs to because you're not looking to make tons of plays pre-6, and then like you heard, Onda saying, comes a great skirmisher around then.
I mean, Rakan was one of the big picks into Taric back at Worlds, and we kind of saw it here. If you focus the Taric down during the charm, the ultimate is essentially nullified.
Yeah, and also it's a pick that we haven't seen that much of in the North American LCS until this week. We're still on patch 8.2. It's the same patch as last week, but Skarner's emerged as a pick, and Rakan has emerged as a pick in combination with Xayah. So sometimes there's a little bit of lag time, or sometimes a team tries something, finds success, and everyone picks it up.
Smoothie did kind of hint at it in an interview last week, saying that Rakan is rising in priority, seemingly in scrim, so it was only a matter of time till it made it to the stage, and we see the prowess of that engage coupled with some of those other CC abilities from the Galio and whatnot. We want to look at one replay. It's going to be exactly that. 12 minutes in, 100 Thieves around the top turret.
Yeah, and this was one of the only times I feel like they made a mistake around playing with Galio, because I think, if I'm giving Flame the benefit of the doubt for what looked like one of the worst TPs we've seen all year, He thought Galio could roam up, but he gets cut off by Ryze if you look at the mini-map right here. And Ryu makes fly path around the slow way, so he's never able to get the ultimate down. Look how low Ssumday gets from that. You can imagine a Galio coming down to maybe turn it around. The rest of the game, it did seem like they were communicating proper information to get the Galio ults off.
The other side of that argument is that it was a really greedy TP, and Fly was just like, oh my god, I need to try and save him.
Right. I mean, it was at that moment in the game, people, you'd be a little concerned for FlyQuest chances, but to Jad's point, perhaps, if we're trying to justify it, you can justify it in that sense where they're trying to set up a play. Because here's what. Our next replay, once again, focuses not on the player picking up the kills, but on the one who sets his teammates up to succeed, just for the pleasure of saying, I'm helping. Brought to you by State Farm. In Fly's premier game on FlyQuest, his Galio goes the extra mile to make sure his team's engage ends flawlessly.
And what's nice here is you see it start off with a good engage by Stunt, but then the flash double taunt into the knockup that allows them to get the rest of the kills is really what wins them this fight. Obviously, a single pick off on a Taric is great, but you want to be able to find the rest of these kills because it leads to the Baron buff afterwards.
Exactly, because the Rakan Galio engage is great to get the Galio in, but oftentimes people get out of the Galio ultimate, so being able to follow that way in as supportive of a mid lane game as we've seen, full tank Galio 0-0-12 on Fly was a great debut on FlyQuest.
And you can expect to see a lot more of this over the course of the season. If you did not follow Fly's career in LCK or in Challenger last year, he is a guy who's mostly known for his team plays. He had a great Aurelion Sol, a great Talia. These kinds of roaming champions are right in his wheelhouse, and already game one, you're seeing the influence he can have on a team.
All right, so I can expect that from Fly himself. What's our sense of FlyQuest now that they're at full power? Again, only one game sample size, but a very solid victory here on day one of the intended roster.
Yeah, they were 2-4 coming into this. They're better than that with Fly. I think the whispers we've been hearing about FlyQuest being good in the preseason, this is kind of where it came from because they do play better with Fly, supporting Flame in the top lane, allowing WildTurtle to carry. It's a better fit for this team.
And like you were kind of saying, this comp is just so good for FlyQuest. It does feel a little like 100 Thieves probably lost the draft in that sense. It's just so hard for them to 5v5 with how much engage comes in. Someone usually is going to get instantly delayed. They pick the Taric into it with the assumption like, hey, we'll be able to negate some of this engage with the Taric ultimate, but every time it was Aphro who was getting engaged on, and then it's really hard to time that.
Surprisingly low amount of damage coming from the Jax, actually. Only 4K, while a majority of the damage being put through the GP and the Xayah pick, but I think that that's where, I latch onto this idea of where FlyQuest succeeds. It is indexing into these two very aggressive people that you have in WildTurtle who will flash forward always. Who's the perfect person to pair in the mid lane with that? That would be a Galio in all cases.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Oh, by the way, you guys are sitting at 0-4 on the day. We have one matchup left to go.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I am very positive that you're 0-4. I just felt like I wanted to remind you, but I also wanted to give you the opportunity to change your predictions for the final game of the day. It's the #1 seed in Echo Fox coming into the day against the 10th place Golden Guardians. Every upset that's been possible today has come true.
What a way to cap off the day of upsets.
Yeah.
The winless Golden Guardians.
No takers?
No takers.
Even though the team with fewer wins has beaten the team with more wins every game today where possible, I'm sticking with Echo Fox. I'm sticking with my guns, Dash.
All right, well, I'm officially polling for the Golden Guardians so that these guys end 0-5 and the coin returns. But here we go. When we return, Echo Fox look to take down the Golden Guardians in Game 5. Meet us back here after the break.